click on Ctrl and left mouse and drag it to right, and you will see that it has duplicated our sheet here. This one is our data source, and this one our sheet here. Okay, let's rename it to what I want to visualize here. I want to visualize the sum of sales based on category or subcategory. This is our subcategory. We already visualize this and this, but now we will visualize subcategory and sales here. Let's rename it to subcategories, subcategory, right? Category. Delete this chart because we will create it from scratch. And if I click on this pivot data and or function or window does not pops up, I will make it pop from here. After clicking pivot table analyze, I will click on field list. This window is going to be appeared. Here I want to get rid of this category. If you want to get rid of this, you could just unclick it or just click on it and drag it left, and here you have a subcategory field here. I will click subcategory and drag it to rows and get rid of all regions. I don't need regions here, and you can see that it has printed sum of sales based on subcategories. And now if I want to sort them and from largest to small, I will click on any cell of this column and just right click and sort them from largest to smallest. And if I want to just list the top 10 items here, what should I do? I will just click on this filter icon here, and from value filters I will go to top 10 and I will filter top 10 items by sum of sales. Click OK. It will filter this top 10 items for me, and now I'm ready to visualize it with the help of chart. Here I will click insert recommended chart. Again I will go to the bar chart, and this one maybe click OK. The bar chart is going to appear. It has a title, legends, everything. Let's keep in this case, we will keep this title. We'll call it sum of sales based by subcategories, categories. And I want to get rid of all these buttons. If I right click on it, I will hide all field buttons on this chart. And here you can see that we have a problem with these legends. I want this legend to be maybe appeared or give a range here in format axis. I will again increase its units to 770, and you can see it has been improved. And if I want to include also data labels here, I can do it without problems. I can just delete this legend here, click hit and delete it. And now I can resize it a bit. If you want, you could resize it, and this one just drag it to the center. Okay, if I want to change the background or the style of this chart, let's take this one. It looks interesting. I will just change it to, and now I will delete this axis. We don't need it because we have this one in here, but we will do it a bit different in order to learn all these tricks in Excel. If I just resize it, you will see that it's being resized without problems. Okay, and now we will create the third chart. First click on Ctrl and drag it to right. We will create another category, another sheet. and for this I want to print out sum of cells based on what? Based on class. Let's see this one. Where is our class? This one. In the ship mode we have classes here, and I will rename this in class like that. Okay, and now I will delete this chart here and click it, go to the pivot table, analyze, field list, and here I will get rid of this subcategory. Instead of subcategory I will include ship mode here, drag it to rows, and automatically converts sum of values of these rows. And you can see that these classes have different sum of cells. If I want to group them, I can group them. If I want to sort them, I can also sort them. If I want to print out the sum of cells or top, for example, first or top 4 items here, I will do that without problems. Click on top. You can see it has printed out top 4 items here, and here I can sort them from largest to smallest. You could say that the largest one is the standard class, the smallest one is the same class here. And now I am open to create the chart. I will click on any of this cell and click on insert in recommended chart, go to the bar or this column, and from here I can choose anything. Let's create this one or this one. It looks better. Click OK. Yes, it has created the bar graph for us based on these values. We would want to get rid of all these field class. We will do that, hide all field buttons here, and let's just type in class here, and what you can see more is to get rid of this total. Okay, and now if I click on this bar here, it would print out its options, series of options, and it's kind of editing fields for this one. What I want to do here, I just want to make its colors a bit variance, like in its colors. Here I will just click on this icon, vary colors by point, and it will vary its colors based on these values here. You can see that our data looks perfect, but here I don't have options for grouping it. Format axis, we could increase units or decrease them. I think that we should put in 70 maybe. No, 30. This one looks better here, and that's good. It looks good. And let's create another chart. What should we create here? We will create the sum of cells based on the region, but we will not create the numbers of cells like this one. We will just print them compared with their values, but with percentage rate. These are our regions here. These are our cells. If I go to the class, I will click on this sheet and drag it to right. I want to print out the sum of values here based on the region, but in percentages. How should I do this? I will click on this pivot table, I'll go to the pivot design, pivot table analyze, field list, and instead of ship mode I will drag it to left to disappear. I will include region here first, this one. The second one will be sum of cells, the cells columns, but value field settings. If I go to this one, instead of cells I will try to show my values as a percentage rate. Here if I click show values as and click on this drop down, I will see that the percentage of grand total. If I click on that one and click OK, it will print out the percentage rate of this data. And now I can easily rename this one to region, and visualize it here. Click on this, any of these cells, inserting it, recommended charts. I will choose the pie chart here, and it has a couple of options here. Let's pick this one, click OK. Here's our chart. Okay, it does not have data labels. I want to include them. I will click on this plus icon here and click on these data labels. I will go to the options. If I want to print them outside, I will print them outside. I will go to this icon in order to change the background. I will change the background of it. And if I want to get rid of all these buttons, I will click on them, right click, and hide all these field buttons here. Click on this again, disappear them, and this is already ready. And here I will just rename it to regions. Okay, we have created it, and now we will create the fifth chart here. It will be created based on date and segment, the first one, and we will actually create two pivot tables or pivot charts here. Let's do it, Control and drag it to right. It will duplicate it. Just a moment. It does not duplicate it. Why? Delete. Let's duplicate from this one. Control, left, right, and yes, it has duplicated it. And now I will rename it to maybe some date, based on date I would want to print them. We have created the date manually, we know this, and I want to print out the sum of dates based on the segment here. Where is our segment here? If I go to the source table, you will see that we should have a segment column here, this one, and based on the segment we will just create the pie chart here. Okay, go to the sum of date. Instead of ship mode, I will include the date here, date to the rows. Segment will be our columns here. Where is the segment? This one. We will include it to columns, and now you will see that it has printed out the pivot table and by years here, and we want this to be printed in line charts. How should I do this? We will click on any of this cell, insert, recommended chart, line, and check one of them. This one looks better. Click OK, and our chart is already ready. You will see how our trend looks based on these sum values. We will hide all these fields again. We will not change it, and here we will drag them down a bit and change its background again, this one. And if I want to get rid of all these grid lines, I will again click on them, pivot table. After clicking it, you will see, and closing it, if I click them, you will see format major grid lines, no line. It has cleared all these lines here and it looks better now. Let's resize it a bit. Right, it looks better. Okay, now just a minute, resize it a bit. Yes, it's ready to go. And now I want to create the second field here.